Probably test the microphone and see if it works. Hello everyone, blah 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 blah. As I'm trying to even start this video, I've realized that I've become self-conscious about everything. Literally right before I started this video, I was like checking if my elbows were ashy, and then I was like checking my face because my face probably don't look too great because I have allergies and been sneezing, and I haven't shaved in a minute because we're in quarantine, and I've just been thinking about all the things that's wrong with my face right before I make a video about self-consciousness, which is interesting. I think everyone's dealing with self-consciousness, and I think it's a very evident thing that I should speak about, because I think the one time that people will begin to think about how they feel about themselves is now. Like, I feel like this is the best time to talk about that and talk about developing character and stuff. So let me help you develop a better sense of self-forgetfulness. What is self-forgetfulness? An awesome quote by Timothy Keller, which I'm probably going to butcher, is, "True humility is not found in thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less." And I want you to ponder on that quote while we talk. I've been seeing a lot of TikToks recently that have to do with like self-image and people not liking their self-image because they'll flip the camera and they'll be like, "Ew, why is my face so lopsided?"
So I've just found out that anytime anybody looks at me, they see me like this. I'm not leaving the house ever again.
Or how come when I zoom out with the little zoom feature on TikTok, my face gets wider? I don't really need to go to the technicalities of how a camera works and how turning a 3D person into a 2D image is obviously going to be skewed. And I definitely don't need to go into the details of how a mirror works and how it's a flipped image and that's not you see. I went over that a million times in my How to Tell If You're Ugly video. But what are we missing? Like, what are us as people missing? Like, were people self-conscious forever? Genuinely think about it. If you go back to like the Greeks in their early language, they didn't even have a word for I or me. There was no personal pronouns because they believed that the gods were the ones that were maneuvering everything. So they never used I or me, even their own names sometimes, to describe things. Obviously later on, some philosophers did start to use personal names and using their own name in their writings. But other than that, those people probably weren't self-conscious. Reason being is they didn't feel like all their movements were necessarily for them. They weren't so self-centered and they weren't so focused on what they are doing because they just think that it's a group effort. And we still see that today in some cultures, such as Korea, where it's very family orientated. And even in the way they worship, like Christians in Korea, when they make their worship songs and stuff, they don't use the word I. But in America, it's God did this for me. God made me like this. God gifted this to me. And it's always me, 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 me. But if you go over to Korea, it's always God is with us. Very, very group orientated. The mentality is not within the individual. No, Nahum, you're wrong, because I don't think of myself enough. I'm always putting other people before me. That's why whenever someone compliments me, I say, "Oh no, I'm not like that. You're amazing, blah, blah, blah." Whenever we meet someone that's truly humble, we don't think to ourselves, "Wow, that person was so humble." Instead, the only thing that we really notice is how interested that person was in our lives. They never talked about themselves. When having that conversation with you, they never connected it to their own lives. When you're saying some super long story about your troubles and what you're going through, they don't end it by saying, "Oh, I went through something similar to that," and then tell you a long story about how they relate. Instead, they're there for you, and they actually listen, and they let you speak. And you notice, and you feel like they were actually interested. And that is a humble person. A humble person is not someone who self-deprecates and says how ugly they are and how much they hate themselves. That is self-obsession. If you talk bad on yourself, you are self-obsessed. And if you heard that and that genuinely upset you and you're actually like defensive now, I got bad news. It's a lot worse than you think. But if you feel like you're learning and you feel like you're like, "Wait, that's facts," then good. Now you know, and now you can move on from here, because knowing that is very important. C.S. Lewis talks about this in Mere Christianity. You know C.S. Lewis. He made the book with the lion and the thing. And him, Timothy Keller, and a lot of other people I look up to all agree that low self-esteem and pride are both a complete nuisance to our lives and the people around us. It helps absolutely no one. Your low self-esteem and your pride need to be put aside. This isn't to say I'm perfect or anything. I'm also learning this. That's why I'm regurgitating this information to you, because so far it's helped me a lot. How do I start, Nahum? How do I start being that person that you're trying to get me to be? Just like everything that I always say on this profile, the things you say are the things you believe, and the things you believe become true. So watch what you say out of your mouth. Don't say bad things about yourself just so you can get a compliment here and there. It's not gonna work. It will not make you feel better about yourself. You and your little TikTok trends where you act like you hate yourself and you don't like how you look and stuff, stop. It's not going to make you look any better, I promise. And just like how I said in my video about ugliness, when you meet a person, you're not going to be thinking about all this very detailed things about their face that are weird or whatever. You always notice their first impression, the way they act, the way they talk, the way they held themselves, because that's what's attractive with people. That's genuinely what you look for. But then you don't give yourself that standard and you pretend like everyone's going to look at your obscene face. Oh, your face is lopsided? Wow, I'm gonna remember that. Rarely does anyone actually sit and look at your face and register all that is about your face. That's all I really have to say. I hope that information is good for you. If you have any questions, please hit me up in my Discord. I will be glad to help you. So yeah, everyone, have a great quarantine. Love yourself. God is great. Words to live by. Those are my words to live by. Have a good one.